This just happened and I wanted to show you on the actual game, but I accidentally pressed something, but I have a screenshot. Look at what I just summoned with, and look at what I got. Dude. Let me start off by saying I was wrong and I'm sorry, because this guy is a coyote on steroids. I should have never said he was bad, because he could probably be insane. Instead of saying, oh, S tier here, oh, A tier here, we're going to ask one simple question. Can it carry? If we look at my heroes, we see generally everybody is around the same level, but Bouvier is a big, stark difference between 160 versus the 140 and 120 everybody else is. This is called the carry unit, a unit that you put all of your investment into, or at least the most of your investment into, so that they are carrying you through stages that you would not normally be able to do. Is Sierra good? Absolutely. I'd say she's one of the best tanks and healers in the game, but that doesn't mean she's a good carry. E-Frame, will she carry? If I had to guess, I'd say yes, because she increases her own crit rate, which is a pretty hard stat to max out, but also a pretty important stat to max out, and she does very decent damage. What about Moxos? I might be inclined to say no, because mostly his gimmick is revolved around decreasing the ultimate bar of the enemy, and if the enemy is just 1v1ing him with auto attacks, he's gonna lose. We already went over Sierra, but basically I don't think she could carry because she doesn't do as much damage as other characters do, and sometimes damage is very important. Kamar maybe could carry, but I think he's a little bit more on the tanky side and less on the damagey side. Elizabeth could absolutely carry. Whenever she gets her ultimate, it does a multi-hit attack that also increases her attack speed by a lot, and if you didn't know, your attack speed is pretty much in line with how often you get your ultimate ability. So practically she goes ultimate ability, rapid fire, ultimate ability, rapid fire. Bouvier can definitely carry because of this passive. Basically, he teleports to an enemy in the backline, chooses to 1v1 them with auto attacks. He is very auto attack heavy. He shields himself. If you win that 1v1 battle, he steals half of their stats. You can essentially absorb half the power of the enemy team by the time you're done with the fight. I don't think Giuseppe would do very well, simply because firstly he has to put down all the barrels, which takes time, and he has to launch all of his traps, which takes time, and then it takes even more time for the damage to go off. He might be a little bit too delayed. Yonala might be confusing because yes, she does do a lot of damage and she could potentially carry, but she can also be used as a support, and she has a very strong support role, so it might be good, especially just to have her on the side of your team to support someone else to be your carry. Lovelace is not going to carry you. My yellow, has anybody seen this guy yet? Can somebody, I think 2 people have told me that he sucks. I don't know. Kaus is not going to be able to carry because he's a tank that increases his tank effectiveness over time, so he's not going to be doing enough damage, and he's not at his full potential at the beginning of the match, which is what is most critical. I think Belfort could carry simply because his ultimate recovers 50% of his HP and his haste every single time he does that. The problem is, whenever he pulls an enemy towards himself, he goes into the middle of the battlefield and becomes the prime focus for everybody to attack. I don't think Grog can carry because Grog's thing is being able to dish out the damage that he already took, so sometimes he dies in the middle of channeling his ultimate. Sometimes the ultimate just straight up doesn't even hit anybody. Gar can definitely carry. He starts by 1v1ing the enemy's squishies, so I don't think Callie can carry, but if you got her, she would definitely be very beneficial to your carry. Thanaren cannot carry. She doesn't do nearly enough damage. Barkin cannot carry because his startup lag for this ultimate ability is so long. I'm gonna show you because I am just straight up not pleased with it. Here he gets it right now. Watch how long it takes him to use this ultimate. Dude, really? I don't think Kratos can carry because carries obviously are usually high damage attackers. Posada, I haven't built him. Everyone that's building him is saying he sucks and he can also hurt your own team, but I don't know. Braylon boasts the best auto attack in the game. It chains to other enemies, and then her ultimate ability is also an area of effect, so definitely Braylon can carry. I think Catharo can carry. See, he ignores defense, but the multiplier on the ability that ignores defense isn't that high, so I'm not sure if maybe late game he would be beneficial, but he's not going to carry you too late game. For some reason, I think Rufina could do it because this passive every 6 seconds just teleporting behind an enemy and dealing an area of effect Nova Blast, that could probably help. Luciano can obviously carry. We see him as a boss all the time, and we see it happen against us. Eloisa is a heavy healer, not going to do enough damage. Vardis is okay for stalling enemy teams, but in no way does he do nearly enough damage. Dietrich can do a lot of damage. The problem is his ultimate ability is glitched and doesn't work on bosses all the time. Virga is probably the same thing as Hatharl. She can do a lot of damage in the end of the game, but does she get you to the end of the game? Probably not. Monica surely can carry. Not only does she do a lot of area of effect damage with her ultimate ability, she puts out ads for the enemy to have to deal with to help her ramp up. Ban used to be a god tier carry. He still can, is just not as good as he was. These dudes that are getting hit by the nerfs, I mean, let's be real. The nerfs were warranted, and they're not bad now that they've been nerfed. They just aren't as good as they were. Bodwick, I think he's purely single target, very tanky, but doesn't quite do enough damage. Thornton would be really good for dealing damage to bosses, but not carrying you through the game. Jessica, I've seen a lot of people use Jessica as a carry. She does a lot of damage and also is able to support herself and make herself tankier. Roxanne, absolutely not, such a delayed character, no damage. Bravo, no, because even though his gimmick is just based around having defense, he's not really tanky. Celero, yes, she heals herself. Her auto attack speed is very high. She can do a lot of damage. This is a great starter character to get you through a big portion of the game. Rosoma, I think, is probably a little bit slept on because people usually go for Celero, but if you wanted to give her a shot, I'm sure that she would perform well. Bowie, do I have to answer it? Is that how you say it? Bowie? What if I just call him Bleh? Not gonna work. Not enough damage. Farron, also not enough damage. His ultimate stays in one place and doesn't follow the enemy, so they can just move out of it. Sapo is pretty good and she could probably carry, but it's super low rate RNG based because her him ability targets a random allied hero instead of herself, so she's not really buffing herself. Aharb, could he? I'm not certain. Sarkison, I was wrong about this dude. Okay, first of all, he does the same thing that Boov, Gar, Eliza, all of those people do. He chooses an enemy in the back to attack, and he also picks the lowest defense, so he just teleports to the back line and explodes on your squishiest character. Scythia, I don't need to explain. You've seen her as a boss. I'm sure we've all been stuck on one of her stages before she can carry. But you are never going to get as much effectiveness out of a normal hero as you would out of an epic or a mythic. So hopefully that's helping you out. If you have a bunch of characters in your hero bag and you don't really know who to build, aren't sure who to pick, you kind of want to watch out for the factions because faction bonus is pretty important too. So go ahead and go through all those carries that I just said, and if you have one of them and you weren't sure about it, I hope that helped. Okay, that's going to do it for me today. I'll see y'all later. Bye!